I took the DISC assessment a while back, and I'm a high I, high C. So I is like influence, and C is cautious or compliance or something. So I am a data-driven people person, is what I've heard. And the way that I handle it for myself so that way I can manage my workload is on projects that require a lot of people interaction firsthand. Those are the ones that I get done first. Thank you for tuning in to the Be Insightful in Technology podcast. I'm your host, Shikirah Johnson, and I'm here to help you gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. If you like the episodes, go ahead and subscribe and rate the podcast. Your feedback is definitely needed so that we can all grow together. So thank you for tuning in today's episode. Let us know how you felt about it. Alright, so hey everybody, welcome to the Be Insightful in Technology podcast. This is a little impromptu episode. I just wanted to come in and talk about how my week was on a professional level. So I am about 4 months in at the current company that I'm at, and I have met some amazing people, some great lessons that I've learned, and I'm also realizing how much I do have to put in time management to ensure that my work gets done and executed properly and correctly the first time. So here's an example of how this week went for me. At the beginning of the week, I was tasked with running some circuit audits, and those were going through a lot of the circuits, verifying like interfaces were up and seeing if there were any cables that need to be replaced, any flaps going on. And that is not the hard part. Like, I ran through the circuit audits, and then they were put in the work orders for the different teams to go ahead and, go through, replace the cables, and do what needs to be done on the low voltage side. But towards near the end of the week, well, let's say moving towards the middle of the week, I really realized I needed to go back and do like my onboarding task and to make sure that I have those things done, because I'm getting closer and closer to my 6-month period, and that's normally the time frame that you have to complete some items. So I realized that I'm having a lot of fun talking to people and getting to know people, which is all part of the job, but I am also leaning out of like the technical aspect. And it's just this week, I just had this feeling of just getting to know more people and get an understanding of how the culture or environment is really set up. Like, I honestly enjoy my job, and I can't wait to be able to do more with it. But I'm also a very people person. I have to be able to get to know some more people and get to come in and know, like, hey, who's this, like, what type of people are here and all that. So in reference to that, I set aside time in my schedule, because time management is very important when you're working on project-based tasks. Like, this is pretty new to me when it comes to a job where it's like a lot of it is project-based and not like, okay, coming from the knock, you're just taking the calls as they come, you're doing the tickets as they come, you're pretty much handling everything as it gets handed to you, like in the moment. And being able to prioritize tasks has, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like my weakest suit. It's just that I do things that I feel comfortable doing first. And that has, you know, that has definitely been in for a while. Like, I will definitely do the things I feel more comfortable doing before I go to the things that are like hard to do or whatever. So as projects come out or as tasks come out, I am working on prioritizing the most important first, and then going back and doing what is next on the list. So I'm also a to-do list person, so I write down what I'm going to do for the day. I make sure that I have my set things, like my metrics pretty much. And when that comes, it's like, okay, this project has so much more weight, it's a lot more important. And then it's like, this project is like really quick to do. Which one do I do first? So I have since I'm a people person and I realized like I took the DISC assessment a while back and I'm a high I, high C. So I is like influence and C is cautious or compliance or something. So I am a data driven people person is what I've heard. And the way that I handle it for myself so that way I can manage my workload is on projects that require a lot of people interaction firsthand. Those are the ones that I get done first. Those are the ones that I go through. I make sure I communicate what's happening. I make sure that I put the information in and the job gets done. When it comes to tasks that are like less people facing, where I'm not interacting with people, this is more so on my own, those get pushed to the side until the ones where it's like I'm heavily interacting with people gets done. So, and that it helps me understand how I actually operate and function so that way I can I would complete my task effectively. And I suggest to anyone listening that, getting to know yourself is definitely not a bad thing because you can figure out how you operate and you know how you can hack your mind to do different things that may or may not interest you, but it's still things that need to get done. And taking the DISC assessment and looking back at like my week and realizing like, oh, so since I am a very people extroverted person, like I focus on like the approval of others and things like that, I was able to go through and look at where did those things actually apply to my life. So when I looked back at my week and I saw that the things that required a lot of interaction with others were the things I was most likely to get done. And that was the projects, the circuit QA, the thing that required a lot of communication with others. And what I did kind of push to the side was the more so like the onboarding tasks, the things that like don't require interaction really. I just have to go through and do them, do some reading on my own and all of that. Like I put that as like the next up or the lesser priority. And I was able to sit back and say like, oh, okay, so anything that I do, I can see how it relates to my DISC assessment. I can see how it relates to me being the high I and the high C. And that's pretty cool, in all honesty. It is pretty cool. So I'm really just looking at how can I make my weeks more effective at work based on the assessments that I found, and how can I morph my I would say, how can I morph my schedule to fit this? Because I would definitely need time to socialize with my coworkers. I am definitely going to need time to do the focus work. And when I have opportunity to set that aside, because I can essentially run my schedule how I need to run it in order to get my work done, which is one of the best things because I know everybody functions so differently. And right now I'm currently on a flex schedule, so I'm remote or I'm in the office. So I have taken my days that I'm in office and ooh, I have made sure that I'm not in the need to heavily do something that may not involve like the communication that day, because I'm definitely like a socializing when I'm in office person. And this has allowed me to also, focus on those projects that do have a lot of human interaction and also be free to just talk with my coworkers and get to know them. So, in retrospect to that, being on the high C as well, when I'm doing my focus work, I'm able to go through and ensure that I have all the information there, everything that needs to be put in place, and get what I need in order to hand it off to someone else when it does come that time around for that, which is a lot to it's a lot to be a high C when you're in front of a bunch of people for me. Like I am definitely like socialization will overpower that and I just want to get to know people. I want to talk. I want to, have fun. But the days that I'm at home, that's that focus work. That's that time I can do my head down work and really get in on the stuff that I'm doing. Develop the skills, learn as much as I can, and be able to not have to feel stressed that I'm not getting something done immediately, or something that may stress me because of, the approval of other people. But I'm really happy that I took the assessment and I'm able to realize how that affects me. So I'm saying this because when you know yourself a little bit better, you can go with how you operate and you can basically flourish in that area instead of trying to condense yourself into, compromise yourself into some different aspect because you're just confused. And I really do like personality tests. They're really fun to take, and it's also a better insight into yourself. Like, who doesn't want to get to know themselves a little bit more? So, for all of the people listening, go out and take like the DISC assessment, is DISC, or even the Myers-Briggs. I'm going to talk about that in another episode because learning how you operate in your normal environment, in your work environment, and maneuvering in a way that helps you, excel, that will be the best bet when it comes to either going into environments that you're unsure of, or if you're already in an environment and you're just like, I don't know how to handle what I've been given. I don't know how to, manage my week. I don't know what to do. Figuring out how you best operate will allow you to flourish into a different aspect. And I know this differ from like the technology perspective, but also this podcast can be about being in the workplace, being in an environment where it's like you're interacting with multiple different types of people, you're interacting with different work projects, and it is a great opportunity to get to know yourself a little bit better so that way you can manage that and you can be able to, what am I trying to say? You can be able to truly understand your avenues and your meaning. You can get closer to what your meaning, what your mission is by figuring this out. So, thank you guys for tuning in to the Be Insightful in Technology podcast. I'm just gonna do like how my week was podcast. I kind of like this. I might stick with it. If you guys like it, let me know. But it's just like talking about my week. These are just quick little short clips, like under 15 minutes, where I'll just talk about how my week went at work and some things that I found out, and just throw it in there so we can all get a general understanding so we can be insightful in technology. So this is Shikirah, and I've helped you gain some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. So go ahead and comment, rate, and subscribe to the podcast. Like, we need more people out here. And if you do want to, contact me, check out the show notes, and we can make sure we can get that interaction going. And thank you guys for tuning in. Enjoy your day.